Your first time? Oh my gosh. Yes, well, welcome. Hi, Miss Brooke. How are you, babe? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. I feel like eventually we need a sign back here. Something's like missing, you know. We got the lights, we got the attire. Hi, JP. Hi, Alice. I'm so excited to Brooke. Oh my gosh. I've got a lot of favorite topics when it comes to paranormal topics, but the second topic I will go ahead and say is by far my fave. Like, I'm biased, but it's also my fave. But that's also because I like really creepy stuff, like really weird, like just I don't know. I'm weird. I'm a weird person. I love creepy stuff, which is perfect because I host Uncover Paranormal, which is what you guys are seeing right now. Um, right? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So tonight, of course, welcome. Every Wednesday, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys know where to find me. We're right here, Uncover Paranormal with me, and of course, other guests. Tonight we have Miss Brooke Falls as our guest. I'll have her request the box in just a second, but right before then, just wanted to say everybody welcome. Thank you guys for coming out every week, and thank you guys who are new to be here because I promise you'll be a regular soon. Thank you so much. Okay, so of course we all know Uncover Paranormal. We talk about spooky things, but I did, however, hi Blake. I did, however, talk last week about some unspooky things. So I want to basically, with this show, kind of expand you guys' minds. Of course, here and there, because I'm clairvoyant, so I love talking about ghost stories because I have seen, talked, and communicated with spirits. So I love those kind of stories. It's so much fun for me. Some of it's scary, but it's a lot of fun. And so, that's my favorite part. But of course, there's also other parts of the paranormal world that don't really get talked about a lot. And as you guys saw last week with Miss Kim Possible, we talked about unicorns and centaurs. So this show is a lot more than just ghosts. So this show is, I want you guys to keep an open mind always. I want you guys to keep a positive open mind. Where was I? I'm dead. So I want you guys to keep a positive open mind when it comes to the paranormal world because it is so important to, view everything with that open mind and to understand where the stories come from, how they were, initially made, just all of that. All of that. So it's really important for you guys to understand that paranormal in itself, the definition is not just spirits and ghosts. It deals with telekinesis and clairvoyance, which is the spiritual world. But it's also, in general, things that cannot be scientifically explained. So unicorns and centaurs. Although we did prove that unicorns could potentially actually have been real at one point last show, which was really cool to see everybody's opinions on that. I love hearing the guest question things. If you're ever a guest on the show, Brooke, listen up. If you have questions, feel free to interrupt me and ask your questions. I love questions. Always ask questions. I just read Emoji J's comment, and me too. And Polly's comment. My dating life is paranormal too. It's okay. It's fine. If your dating life is paranormal, you should probably actually check out Blake Premier's show to help that. So you're welcome for that, Blake. You can plug it in the comments if you want. We love to support other creators here. So welcome to Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. I've got a few announcements before we get into it. Just really fast. Of course, you guys know I'm not just a clairvoyant. I'm not just oh my God, thank you. I'm not just Uncover Paranormal. I'm also a singer-songwriter, and I'm working on Christmas music very soon. And I've got a huge announcement on December 1st. So if you guys will tune into Meet Me and my Instagram, I'm going to be doing a really huge announcement. That's kind of a big deal for my music career. So just wanted to go ahead and plug that because I'm very excited about that. But of course, aside from singing and songwriting and being just, pop star, a little gumdrop apparently today. Thank you, Brooke. Those are so cute. Oh my God. Aside from all that, we are out here uncovering all of the paranormal, and that's what we're doing. So very, very excited for tonight's topics. Of course, we just went over how we went over unicorns and centaurs last week because paranormal is way more than just ghosts. But tonight's topics have the theme of royalty. So I picked these in mind because when Brooke agreed to be on the show, I was like, Brooke is a queen. I need to deliver. So deliver I shall. Um, so everybody welcome. We're going to go over 2 topics today. That's usually how the show works. And what we're going to do is go over one. You guys in the comments can give me and Brooke your opinions. Brooke, you can ask questions. We're going to go into the second topic afterwards, after we ask all the questions and see if you guys believe it could be real or not, see if you guys have any similar experiences. We're going to go into the second topic. But don't think that it's just 2 topics, because at the very end of the show, Brooke is going to tell you her spooky story too. So stay around for that too. And I'm super excited to go ahead and get started tonight. So, of course, I told you guys the theme. For those of you who don't know what the definition, the actual definition of paranormal is, it is the denoting of events or phenomena such as, but not limited to, telekinesis or clairvoyance, and anything that is beyond the scope of normal according to scientists. So, with that being said, without further ado, Brooke, you can request the box now for me, please, babe. And we are going to get started. Now, I will say, if for some reason it cuts out because my internet, we're still working out some kinks, just rejoin, we'll restart. So if the internet cuts out, we're going to get back on. I'll have to reset the router and all that good stuff. But nonetheless, the show will go on. Welcome, Brooke. I've got to make you a little bigger. All right. Hi.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
You're adorable. Oh my gosh. Everybody, welcome Brooke. If you haven't already favorited her, where have you been? Go ahead and favorite her. She's right here. Also, Brooke does a show, just as a quick little reminder, guys, Behind the Music every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't forget to check her out as well for her show. And she does music as well, which love, fellow singer-songwriter over here. Love it so much. She's got a song called Blueberry Pie out, and it is Blueberry Pie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I've listened to it, but I just, like, for some reason, just in that second, I, like, second-guessed myself, and I was like,
so good. That was awesome, yeah.
I love it, by the way. So good. But for you tonight, we're gonna set our music away. I know it's really hard. I love music, but we're gonna set it away tonight, and we're gonna dive into some paranormal fun stories. I'm so excited. It is the ultimate collab.
Right?
I love it. So we're going to dive into some paranormal tonight. Are you ready?
I'm so excited.
Do you believe in paranormal?
So that's the thing, is that I'm a little skeptical. So
okay.
I have my doubts about, like, ghosts. Like, I don't know. You know, that's so I am a little, so I'm walking and I'm like, you know, like little.
I love that though.
Okay.
I'm so ready for this. Okay. So we're going to go into the first topic. And of course I told you guys the themes of these topics were royalty, because Brooke is a queen. Cue my crown over there. It's too far away for me to get, but cue my crown over there. Passing it to Brooke. So we're going over not only the most infamous place for just hauntings in general, but we're also going to touch base first on one of the notorious. Yes, thank you. We're going to touch base on one of the world's most haunted hotels, and it happens to be a floating hotel. And of course, with our theme, we're going into the Queen Mary tonight. So we're going to go into the Queen Mary. I'm going to show you guys just a picture from the room, because they don't have like any like ghosty pictures, and I don't want to show anything that's like not real. So we're going to go into the Queen Mary, into room B34. I know it's probably hard because of my ring light, but there we go. So there's an inscription on the walls. They actually have a few in this room. I definitely said B34. It's B340. I'm dyslexic. I'm so sorry. But so B340 is known as one of the most haunted rooms like ever, like in the world.
Really?
Kind of a high title, I think. Like
that is a high title.
With that, I expect some stuff. I expect to be running out of there scared in the middle of the night.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's my stuff right there. I will say, while I have never visited the Queen Mary, we did, when I lived out in California, we did go to Long Beach, and it's located in Long Beach. And we went past it, and we were walking past it, and before I knew what it was, I like immediately got chills like down to the bone. Like normally when I have like a bad gut feeling or anything like that, or just like an uneasy gut feeling with my clairvoyance, and I was just like, ugh. And we're like walking next to the ship, and then I noticed on the side of the ship it says the Queen Mary. I think it's like USS or US Queen Mary, but nonetheless the Queen Mary. And I knew what the Queen Mary was. I just didn't know it was in Long Beach. I honestly thought that it was in Britain.
Right.
And so when I looked over, I was like, ooh, no, that's creepy. But I have every intention on staying in that room. It's only $500 a night, which I know that sounds a lot, but like for one of the world's most haunted rooms, and it's literally, they've redesigned it to basically be a penthouse type of suite. It's like 3 rooms in one now. So every wall in that room, they've got like those columns that I just showed you, has an experience from some of the original workers on the ship.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it's got all the stories, and it's so commercialized now, which is why I wanted to take it, because I know you were going into it, you said you were kind of a skeptic.
Yeah.
And so I figured that we'd go into something that is more or less like teetering on the lines of, could it be real, could it not be real? Like I really wanted to press and see what we can like find out, and see if I can change your mind on it, on just paranormal in general, before we hop into the next topic. So for those of you just coming in, hi, this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods, and Miss Brooke Falls right over here. Please don't forget to favorite her and check out her as well. We are right now talking about the Queen Mary ship, which is again dubbed as one of the world's most haunted places ever, which is crazy because like it's, you know, that's a big title. So with this big title, you have to expect there's a lot of like crazy things. And in my experience, I've definitely had personally like crazy things. But these are actually the things that have happened in the, at least in B340. I kept it at B340 because the whole ship is haunted. They, you know, in the hulls and just like in down in yeah, the boiler, and thank you, Razor Black. The boiler room is also another place where a lot of activity happens, but B340 is known for its activity being consistent, and it's also known, of course, because people can sleep in there. People can't necessarily sleep in the boiler rooms. You have to pay a lot, or you have to be famous to have access. Like you have to be somebody. Like Shane Dawson did a series on it on YouTube, and they got to go into it, but it's also Shane Dawson. So like, of course they got to go into it. But that's another place where it's super, super high activity. They get a lot of feedback on vocal recorders and stuff like that of people talking and just like conversation in general, which I think is really interesting. But B340 is one of the most haunted hotel rooms. And so I figured we'd dive into that on the Queen Mary today.
That is
so all aboard. Do you have any questions before we get into it?
Yeah, I mean, so when you say like activity, like is that like movement, like moving of objects, like sounds? And
yeah, so like we got sounds, we've got moving of objects, doors shutting and closing. You can hear things knocking on the walls, which people, of course, people like to say the knocking on the walls could just be it's an old ship, which I definitely, I'm when it comes to believing in it, I love a good scary story, but I'm also very rational when it comes to things because I have experienced real ghost activity. So I like to also look at things from a skeptic's point of view so that, you know, I don't get too wrapped up into it, because I find too that when you go searching for these things, if you're too wrapped up into it, you'll actually open different portals to different things that you don't really want. So I try to, it's good to keep a skeptic's mindset when you're going into it, just so you don't like unleash something that you don't want. So, but I do try to keep that in mind when they're talking about like the knocking and stuff like that. But the doors closing for no reason, I can't explain that. And every time it's happened to me, I'm just like, all right, I'm out. I get it. You want me to go out.
right. Okay.
That happens a lot. People actually see apparitions down in the hallways. I believe there's something similar to what would be like a ballroom, and people have seen apparitions in that as well. And my most favorite apparition, of course, is in B340, and it is it's just a dark figure, a really dark, scary figure. And people who have seen it say that they wake up in the middle of the night. 3 a.m. is normally the time that they wake up, which, of course, it's the witching hour. It's super creepy. And they immediately wake up because they feel sick to their stomach, or they feel something bad. They feel like someone's watching them. And when they wake up, they just see either their covers have been taken off, or they see someone at the end of the bed just standing there, like a black shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be enough for me to get out. Like, that would be, I've seen a lot, and that's something that's where I push my like stop button. That's where I'm just like, no, like, absolutely not. Brooke, what would you do if you saw a black shadow standing at the end of your bed?
Like that, I think like I get like so nervous or I freeze up and I like can't move. So like I think I would
That's
like
pretty
I
common.
don't know if I would do. I don't know if I could do anything. I don't know. That's like
Yeah,
sleep paralysis. Oh my god.
that's pretty common.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would do the same thing. I wouldn't be able to move. I'd just be like,
Frozen. Like I
yeah.
don't know if this is a dream or if this is real. Like I don't. Oh my god. That's so.
Yeah, if it's especially if it's that close. There's been times where I've been in situations where I'll go towards it, but like normally, I get a little brave sometimes.
Yeah.
But normally, if I see something that close to my bed, like especially if I'm in the middle of the night on a ship I know is haunted, and I see something like that, I'd be like, put the my go-to is the covers. I tell you guys all the time, when you're scared, just pull the covers up over your eyes. If you can't see it, it can't see you.
Right. Right.
I don't know if that's true, but it works for me and it eases my mind. So
Right. Me
that's
too.
my rule of thumb. So we're gonna dive into some experiences that have been had in B340 on the Queen Mary, which is what we're talking about right now, guys. You have just entered Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. This is Miss Brooke Falls over here, and don't forget to favorite her while she is here. Brooke, again, if you have any questions, feel free to just like stop me, just be like, hey, Blair, I got a question. So we're gonna dive into it. The most haunted ship, the most haunted place, the most haunted hotel room in the world. Wow. Like, insane. So it's located in Long Beach, California. It has been featured on Sci-Fi Channel's The Ghost Hunters and British TV series Most Haunted. So it is really commercialized. So keep that in mind. But before all of that, of course, when it was a ship and it was sailing, there was a lot of people on the ship that would have experiences on the ship, whether it be spirits, going up and down the hallways, spirits attacking you in your room, spirits down in the boiler room. There's a lot of history to this ship. It's a very old ship, and all of the stories again are said in B340. They are on the wall in the room, so you'll see this one right here. I'll actually read it to you guys. So out of the corner of my eye, I saw a person walking by, so I turned to look. It was a lady in a powder blue dress. She was solid but unfocused and hazy. Never looked at either of us. Then she suddenly just walked behind a thin pole, which we had a clear view of, and just disappeared. So, like, creepy.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that gets seen not only in the room, but in the hotel in general. So there's a lot of activity in that hotel. Of course, again, super commercialized. You can stay there. You can rent the rooms. You can rent the room. You can go down if you have passes to the boiler room. You can go about. They encourage you to go about actually and ghost hunt, because unlike some hotels where they don't really want to associate themselves with that, they have associated themselves with being the most haunted hotel room ever in the world. So they're good. So you can go, of course, and see in the ballrooms and the hallways, people coming in and out. And by people, I just mean spirits. So there's a lot of activity. And of course, the most activity is in B340, which is what we're diving into. So reports of the haunts date back to 1967, and that's of the whole ship in general. And include in that room, B340, complaints of someone knocking on the doors around 3 a.m., bathroom lights turning on and off, sinks turning on and off, the doors shutting by themselves. That means closet doors, like the bathroom doors, all of that stuff. Bed covers pulled down or off in the middle of the night, and of course that dark figure at the end of the bed. So there's a lot of like really scary like things that happen. And I want to know, because Brooke, you said that you were kind of a skeptic, so I'm gonna assume, but of course I'm only assuming, you have not been to the Queen Mary.
No, I've not been to Queen Mary.
Has anybody in the comments section been to the Queen Mary? They have a Bloody Mary game in the bathroom. That's dangerous. I would not do that. Everyone's saying I wish. Okay. Honestly, same. I wish I would have gone the day that I passed it, but we just didn't. It's definitely on my bucket list. But I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the history of the ship itself before it was a hotel, like a stay still hotel. So during its voyage years, the room B340 encompassed 3 third-class staterooms. So it was at one point 3 different rooms, and now they have renovated it to be one big guest suite. It is one of the biggest rooms on a ship as well. It's not a normal guest suite. So it also comes with, like I said, you guys, it's commercialized. So it already comes with a chest full of supplies that are in that room, which is, it's known to be one of the most haunted rooms. Of course, they're going to supply this. It comes with tarot cards, Ouija boards, and crystal balls. And I have to wonder, with that being said, aside from not only the demolition and reconstruction of the room, stirring up the spirits that way, but also putting the tools to actually open portals like in the room that's supposed to have the most haunted things can't be a good idea, especially after you've already messed with them. Like, I have to assume that these things that are happening in the room are because of the renovation and also adding, the tools to open portals, because that's dangerous. That's like, coming from a clairvoyant, I don't mess with the Ouija boards. I will never. And I know a lot of people that are clairvoyant love Ouija boards. I won't. That's the one thing I won't do. I believe that it just opens up a portal that you don't want. It's so dangerous, and so many people do that in that room, and I have to wonder if there's ghosts and spirits there, or even non-human spirits there that are there because of it now and that won't leave.
Oh my gosh, maybe that's really it.
Yeah.
You're right. Like, how many people that do it over and over again that don't know what they're doing as well?
Exactly.
Like, it's not a lot of people that know
People
what
that
they're
don't say
getting.
goodbye, yeah. So super scary. So with that being said, with all of that in mind, again, I told you I like to come at it with some rational thoughts there.
Mhm.
Do you think the shadows, do you think the pulling off of the covers, the closing doors, do you believe in it? I want to hear from someone who's kind of skeptical what your thoughts on all that stuff is, because when you go into a room like this, especially if you're skeptical and your doors start opening and closing, your sink starts turning on and off, your lights start turning on and off, what would you think, Brooke?
So my thing is that when things like this start to happen, it's happened in my house. I've always so I think I don't know what it is. I was a scaredy cat growing up. I always had anxiety of stuff like that. Of just oh no, there's something watching me, following
Yeah.
me, that kind of thing. And I don't know if it was a paranoia of maybe just I need to grow up out of it or something. I don't know, but I feel when things I don't know, noises downstairs and creaks and doors, I understand. I start to understand. I start to get it. I start to back away from it. And kind of, because I get nervous. I mean, it's that kind of thing it's spooky. It is. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. It is spooky, and that it's just, in my opinion, it's what if I don't see it? What is it? And where is it at? Is it invisible? I
Yeah.
mean, where is it? Where, I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard. I want to know.
It's really based on, I think, the fear of the unknown, and that's why so many people are so afraid of it. I'll admit, I'm afraid of the dark. Not because I'm afraid of the dark, but I'm afraid of what lies within the dark, because at that point you're kind of blinded. One of your senses is off and you can't see anything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing. A lot of people will go into this room and go in the closet and do seances or just anything to try to stir up or make the spirits mad, and they'll go and close themselves in the closets, and that's when they start hearing all the knocking and they start hearing the banging and stuff like that. There's a lot of people who have done that, and the people next door didn't hear a thing, which is very strange because it's a very loud knocking. You definitely would hear it. It's not like the walls are super thick. So it's up for debate as to whether or not, when it's so commercialized like this, as someone who has actually had experience, it's so hard to say that like everything is real. But I do believe that at the very least, the stories that come from the older generation, the people who were originally on the ship, have to come from some sort of truth.
Yeah.
I don't think that so many people would come together and lie about the whole entire thing just for fun.
Right.
Like,
For sure.
especially back in the day when like ghosts weren't commercialized, like it wasn't something that people were like, yeah, let's go check out this. It was something that people were afraid of because they didn't understand it. And so they would tell these stories and everything. And I think when it comes down to it, I know a lot of people like a good scary story, but that many people coming together and saying that they saw this or they saw the same thing or just certain things like that and they had the same thing happen, I feel like at one point it was very, very legit. And I feel like, again, since they've kind of supplied the ability to open portals, that whatever you have experience with now in that room probably isn't the original entity from that room. I feel like there's a lot of gateways that might have been opened up in that hotel in general. And when I walked past it, it didn't give me a normal chill. It gave me like an uneasy, like I didn't really want to go near it. Like I want to go near it because I'm one of those people that's like, I'm curious, I want to go check it out. But also my gut's like, don't, like, just don't. And
Don't, because like you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things that like when we walked past it, I felt that, and I don't feel like that would have necessarily been originally there. I feel like that has to like build up. And that's one of the things that like kind of makes me nervous about this ship, because I really do want to find out for myself, like if things happen. I know that once I go on, I'll feel whatever's on there. But it's of course up for debate which stories are real and which stories are not. But I do believe in the possibility of something being on there, especially since when I passed it, it gave me that feeling.
Sure.
And when things happen like sounds, I try to disregard them because me personally, I get scared too. Like I was always a scaredy cat growing up. I'll admit it. I was a scaredy cat. And I get so scared, so I try to tell myself, like with sounds, like there's always an explanation behind it. I know in my past there has been things that have happened that don't have explanation when it comes to sound, but I try to at the very first like say like there's an explanation for this. But when it comes to the doors closing, the faucets turning all the way on and off, like the lights flickering, I feel like that could just because it's an old ship. But the doors closing, the lights flickering on and off, and then seeing those shadows. A lot of people like to chalk it up to your imagination, but there's a lot of things that we don't really understand about our mind and the way it works. And when you do see shadows, I encourage you guys to, not be scared of them per se, but also to explore the fact that it could definitely be something watching you or there with you. And I don't want to scare anybody when I say that, but, the spirit realm, we can't see it unless we have the gift. And there's so much that's within the spirit realm that you don't see. Like right now, I guarantee you, there is probably something in my room with me. Like I would not doubt that. Like it's probably just chilling. It's probably just like, there she goes again, talking about paranormal. I see you.
Yeah.
But they're all around all the time. It's a whole entire different realm of energies. And I think when you go to certain places like this, especially when it's commercialized as it is, I do encourage you guys to really dive into what you see. Like if you think that you see a shadow, think exactly what it looked like, think about it, and also, explore the options that it could be someone watching you, whether it's bad or good. It's up for debate. You'll feel it in your stomach, you'll know. But at the end of the day, they definitely are there watching. And I don't know, Brooke, if you feel that, if you've ever felt it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like I felt like being like watched. It's just I don't know. In my mind, it's more or less like I don't know if it's like, are we talking like, are these people that have like lived on Earth before and are dead now?
There's definitely a lot, but I do think that there's also entities that were never alive, because energy kind of comes and goes. It's never created, nor is it destroyed. Hi. And so it's one of those things that there's definitely a lot of energy out there, negative and positive, that was never a human to begin with. So that's also up for debate too. There's divine and then there's evil. So I think regardless of what you believe in general, positive and negative does exist. We know that. I mean, Brooke, you and I are musicians. We know manifestation works.
Sure.
And going into that, of course, when you come into something like this, the ship especially, you have to have that like open mindset of like, all right, is this positive or is this negative that I'm feeling? Because that's going to kind of help me determine whether or not my experience is going to be a good one or not.
Yes, no, yeah. So I guess negative energy, like I've definitely felt that for
Yeah.
sure around, yeah, in specific places of like you need to leave, like
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. And that's your,
So I guess
whether that be complete paranormal or just your intuition, both of which work hand in hand. And I do think that like going forward, if you ever visit a place like this, like it's very hard to say when it's commercialized like this if it's real or not. But when you go to visit a place like this, have that open mind to realize that there is negative and positive energy all around you, and kind of tune into that and feel like, you know, is this something worth like exploring? Is what they're saying true? That kind of thing.
exactly.
So after kind of hearing that side of things, hearing the first ghost story, basically, Brooke, what's your view on the paranormal now?
So I would say that now I understand, like I understand that it's more or less about, I don't know, about like a certain type of vibe that you
Yeah,
get. Like I know, I think that I'm like, I guess I was like looking for, or at least like seeing things. Like I'm like, obviously, it's not necessarily, you're not going to see everything. You're not going to have like a shadow, like,
yeah,
a mirror, like things like that. But like, you know, that's like, I guess, what I take away from it. Cause like, I guess, I don't know. Now that like, when I know that like I'm a skeptic, and then once I start thinking about it, I start to go like, okay, yeah, this is the reason why I don't then I start to like understand, like, yeah, it does exist in ways that I can't like really like describe, because it's
yeah.
so far beyond like words.
Oh yeah.
But it's still there, and so I'm like tiptoeing on it.
It's only creepy because you can't see it, and I feel like that's like a lot of people, like it's only creepy because you can't see it. I think that, obviously, with that being said, there are very dark spirits, and with that room having Ouija boards and stuff to do seances in it, like that's really dangerous. So if you guys do ever stay in that room, please, please, please do not use an Ouija board, because there's a portal that has been opened in that room, kind of like going in and out. So if we do crash, just come right back in. Um, just as a side note, by the way, guys, if you're just coming in, this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods, and we have my special guest, Brooke Falls, right over here. Don't forget to favorite her too, guys. We're going over a couple different topics tonight. We're going over the Queen Mary ship, the haunting on there. Brooke is slightly a skeptic, so we're testing and seeing if we can't change that, or if we can at least give her a new perspective on things. I don't ever like saying change, because I don't ever want you guys to just change just because I say change. Like, I want you guys to have a new perspective on things,
Right.
so you can think about it and make the decision yourself. Because I would never want to like automatically make people scared and people just be like, "No, I'm terrified." I feel like that'd be terrible. So the theme of tonight was Queen, because Brooke is a queen. So I was gonna dive into the royal family, but if we're being honest, they don't have any interesting things. It's just old queens and kings that are dead that haunt the castle. That's about as much as I could dig up. And so, as far as just spooky things in general, one thought came to mind. I was like, my favorite thing ever. Like, why wouldn't I do this? This one, if you're a skeptic, you're definitely not going to be afterwards, or at least you're going to have something to really ponder on, because this place in general is so filled with death and with just energy. I'm so sorry to word it like that, but it is, with death and with energy, that it is no surprise to me that it is as haunted as it is and that creepy things happen. The thing about this place that excites me the most, because I get really excited when weird stuff starts happening, there's a lot of disappearances. People disappear in this place and they don't come back out. And it's not because people are getting kidnapped. It's people start to get lost, and then even if they don't get lost, they just disappear. And there is a movie about it. I don't know if anyone knows where I'm going with it, but I'm gonna reference the movie. The movie has like only a nugget of truth. The rest of it's completely fabricated. I'm gonna go ahead and say that, so we're not gonna reference it too much. Thank you, guys. We're gonna dive into the catacombs tonight.
Yes.
So we're going to dive into the Parisian catacombs, though. While there is still royalty, of course, there's a lot of really famous people, philosophers, royalty, just famous performers, famous artists that are buried underneath as well. They have their own special rooms, I learned, which I did not know that. So all the people, if you guys don't know what the catacombs are, it's literally underground tunnels that they had already had from, like, I think the 17th century. Yeah, the 17th century. And they decided to start putting bodies down there. So it's beautifully made up of bodies, might I add. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but they literally took bones. Trigger warning for anybody who doesn't like seeing human remains. This is real. This is very real skulls and bones that I'm about to show. Nothing like graphic. No, there's nothing graphic, but I mean, just to let you guys know. So it's made up of bones. What you guys see here, this like part right here, this is the entrance to the gateway of hell. So that's what's inscribed, quote unquote, what they think is inscribed above the gates to hell. And they did that to this pathway. Now, this pathway is what we're going to focus on tonight, because this one's one of my favorites because it's creepy. So they have, of course, a sign when you go down, and it says, like, welcome to the Empire of the Dead type of thing. It's in French, but welcome to the Empire of the Dead. It's something de l'amour. I don't know the first word because I don't know how to say empire in French, but I know de l'amour. But so they have that, and then you go into it. You kind of get about a mile-ish of tunnel that you can see with or without a tour guide. And then it is illegal to go into any other place because of dangers and because people literally go missing through some of these tunnels and never come back out. So they've made it illegal. Of course, that does not stop people. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I go to Paris, I'm going, and I have every intention of going illegally into them for legal purposes. I did not just say that. So with that being said, Brooke, have you ever been to the Parisian catacombs? Have you ever been to the London catacombs?
I have not, unfortunately.
Are you familiar of them? You look like you were back then.
I have.
Okay. So a lot of people started referencing As Above, So Below. That is exactly the movie that I told you guys I was going to reference. Personally, it's one of my favorites as far as just scary movies go, because it does make you think, what is in those tunnels that are illegal? Like, what's in there, And it does go through, just like, this is a spoiler alert for that show, for that movie. You go through the tunnels, the catacombs. The girl sees, she's over there searching for, like, the stone of life, like Harry Potter style. And so she goes down into the catacombs. She ends up finding someone who can take her into the illegal parts. They go into the illegal parts, and basically, as above, so below. They go as far down as they can, and they learn to get back up. They have to keep going down, which is really scary if you think about it. That's trippy.
What?
So they have to keep going down in order to actually come back up. So they literally go to hell and back.
Oh my God. Oh, I have to see this now.
It's so good. You've never seen it? Did I just?
No,
oh my God, Brooke, I should have told you to close your ears. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm like, it's okay. I love spoilers. It's fine.
There's so much more to that movie than what I just said. Yes. Thank God. There's so much more to that, more plot twists and everything. So I'm glad I didn't say everything. Highly recommend watching it. It is one of the best movies ever, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like it, but I really do like it because it's one of those things that make you think, and because the catacombs are so real. It really is creepy, honestly. It makes you think, and it's really creepy. If you guys are just coming in, hi, this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. This happens every Wednesday at 11. Eastern Standard Time. I had to think of the time zone. And we have Miss Brooke Falls right here. Don't forget to favorite her. We're going over the catacombs right now. Not quite royalty, but I will say when I was reading into the Parisian catacombs, what I learned is that they do bury, or they did bury the, the royal or the artist or people of importance. They had their own little like thing, like room. But the disturbing part is the rooms are made up of other people's bones.
Oh.
So, yeah.
It's like a little dedicated room of bones for your bones.
Yeah, pretty much. It's interesting. They really did it up. So I'm going to explain the catacombs for those of you who don't know what they are, or if you know what they are but you don't quite know the makeup of them. Basically, the history behind this is that around the 17th century, they had these, let me just double check that I'm getting, there's 2 different centuries that I have on here. I want to make sure I'm getting them right. Okay, so the 13th century, they had all these tunnels underneath Paris. They go for 200 miles plus, and they just go underneath. Now, around the 17th century, they were starting to get to their capacity in dead bodies. And so the worst case scenario, like you guys probably learned about this in history, but this happened everywhere in Europe, by the way. This wasn't just a Parisian thing. This happened everywhere in Europe. London had an issue with it. Like, everywhere had an issue. So what was happening was basically after millions of years of burying these dead bodies, they started to have to literally stack bodies on top of each other to the point where they would wash up after storms, after rainstorms, and dead bodies would just be floating in the streets. Now I know that's like really graphic. So sorry.
No.
Brooke's face is like, ew.
That's so bad.
So you can only imagine the stench that comes from that, because those were newer bodies. The older bodies were bones underneath. So
it's so disgusting.
Really nasty. So they had a city, I believe called Les Innocents, and it looks like Les Innocents, but it's Les Innocents. And that city experienced some of the worst smells and putrid, just disgustingness from these bodies rising and literally like floating up from their graves after rainstorms. And sometimes they would find them in the streets. Like, it was an issue, and it was an issue.
Okay. Very big issue.
So the 17th century is actually when they started to fill these catacombs with dead bodies. The 13th century is when the underground tunnels were made. So someone in Les Innocents was like, okay, this is disgusting. Like, we can't do this. We can't live like this. This is going to cause disease. This is going to be an issue. This is obviously a health code violation. So someone had the great idea to literally undo these bodies, like bury them or unbury them, dig them all up, and put them in the underground tunnels. And so the underground tunnels are now what you guys know as the catacombs. So majority of the tunnels are made up of human bones, real human bones. It's not fake. They literally took them and they had to stack them up. And if I might say, they did it very artistically. Again, I'm going to show the picture just for reference. But they literally, they went above and beyond, if you ask me.
Did they have like people that were designated like workers to, I guess, like you literally use actual like bones like from decomposed bodies, and stack them?
From what I read, a lot of bodies that were already majority of the way through their decomposition process, they would actually like soak them and skin them and get all that stuff off and take the bones and put them in. And then the bodies that were newer are a lot of the bodies that were put in these rooms.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the rooms were made so that the newer bodies could decompose properly without anyone smelling it. And so there's just a lot of stacked up things. What they did for the unknowns, like, this is really sad, but like the unknown bodies or the unimportant bodies, they would stack them and then just wall them in with bones. So like there's bodies upon bodies upon bodies in these walls. It's really disgusting.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
So many.
So with that being said, you have to think, first of all, these people, I mean, everyone knows you bury a body, you put it to rest. Normally, that body has a proper burial and it can move on, it can pass on.
Yes.
The minute that you disrupt a body is the minute you start messing with their afterlife. And I like to look at these spiritual entities as human beings, regardless of if they were humans or not. You have to think from a human perspective. Actually, I hate using TikTok as a reference, but there's a TikTok that made me laugh because it's like, this is probably true. You have to think about it from the perspective of if you were dead and you were a ghost, and you were interacting with the living, and they were sitting there, one, digging up your remains. You would be pissed because you would be at a state of unrest. You would be like, all right, I can't rest now. I'm awake. Hi. Like, what do you want? Like, kind of thing. And with these bones in the catacombs, I don't know if they went down and it didn't say if they went down and did any sort of like ritual, or like, closing the portal ritual. And by the experiences people have down there, I don't think they did. And I think that's millions of people at unrest. They said that it is up to 8 million people buried down there. 8 million spirits that were uprooted and placed down there. And then, of course, with the people that the bodies that they had to decompose prematurely, like, that's a lot. That's a lot of really mad people, if you ask me. Like, and that's a lot of people being forced to be out of unrest and then be placed into a tunnel situation with a bunch of other spirits who were just uprooted and unrested and placed in a tunnel situation. And everyone's probably just bouncing around and they're like, what is this? Like, this is like,
very true.
I like to animate it because you have to think, like, as a person, especially when people, like, in the room, we're going to reference back to the Queen Mary, when you go into that room and you're sitting there taunting people, taunting the spirits, you're sitting there, like, getting annoyed because they're not doing anything. You have to think of it as if I was a spirit and I was sitting right there on the bed with my arms crossed, just watching you guys, like, do your seance stuff while you guys can't see me. I'm over here. I've been dead for however many years now. This happens on a regular now. Like, all right, this gets old, first and foremost. And if you're not here to actually help me pass on, like, I don't want to talk to you. If you're gonna start taunting me, I don't want to talk to you. Like, you got to think about it from a perspective of humanness, because you want to treat it with respect as you would want to have respect. And I feel like a lot of people in the catacombs probably don't too. And not only that, but again, those bodies were uprooted and placed in a whole different grave, and it's not really even a grave, it's just a bunch of bones stacked on top of each other in a very artistic manner, which I will say they did great. Like, it's very cool to look at. They've got crosses made of human, like, thigh bones and whatever those are called. And I didn't finish that part of my school class, so I don't know what those are called, but like, it's a bunch of just bones and bodies. So a lot of people go down there and they'll see, shadows of people walking back and forth. I like to describe it too, that the times that I've seen shadow figures, the way that I can describe them the best and what I have to imagine they're seeing is what we call an apparition. And it's as if you were to take a human body, if you were to use, like, the glitch effect a lot on it, the grain effect a lot on it, and kind of like make it opaque. And that's a ghost. That's literally a ghost. And that's why people, when they're editing pictures and stuff like that, that's literally, if you want to know how to make yourself look like a ghost, that's how you do it in Photoshop. You're welcome. But that's exactly what anytime I've seen one, that's what they look like, is they're just opaque, grainy, glitchy, just energies. You have to think about it too. They are energy. So it's literally as if you were to turn on a TV and that kind of energy, but it's human.
Exactly. Exactly. No, that's really scary for sure. Because that's the story that I have.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you're rethinking it. You're like, oh my god, oh my god.
Oh no, you're saying what I saw it. I think I saw it. Oh no.
Oh I can't wait for you to tell us after. By the way, guys, if you guys are just coming in, this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. We're going over the catacombs with Brooke Falls right over here. Don't forget to favorite her, guys. She's going to tell us a spooky story at the very end of this, which now that you've hinted towards it, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm like, all right, let's get to it. But we're going to finish the catacombs, and then we're going to dive into your story, Brooke. So the catacombs, we just went over, guys. We went over the history of them. I just went over what kind of the apparitions look like. And so you guys kind of understand what people are seeing when they're going down there. The scariest story that I found from the catacombs, and this is a real story, and the video is not authorized in the U.S. I could not find it. It's not available in the U.S. anymore, and which is really unfortunate. But basically, a Parisian man went down there with the intention to explore and go into, I showed you guys, the gates of hell. This is like, I believe, Latin. I'm not quite sure the language, but it literally just says exactly what's over the gates of hell, which is abandon all hope, ye who enter here. It's pretty scary. And that is actually closed off now. You can't go down there unless you sneak down there. And so it does look like an elevator. So it's an elevator to hell. And so this guy took his camcorder down there and was about to enter. You guys see that little like elevator looking door, was about to enter that door, saw something he caught on the camera. From what the description said, it was a shadow that went like that, like past the camera, and it scared him so much that he didn't want to go backwards because it was behind him. So he was facing away from this he was about to go in, and he was facing towards us, and it happened towards us. So he turned around and ran into that part, and so the camcorder drops. Apparently in the description of it, you see him running into that the gate of hell. He is never to be seen again. He was never to be seen again. He disappeared after that. People found the camcorder, and that's all they have.
Stop.
Yeah, they couldn't locate the man, and he's a Parisian resident. They couldn't find him at all.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's the part of As Above, So Below that was kind of inspired in As Above, So Below, where they have that guy that had went into the, I'm not going to go back into it because you haven't seen it yet, but basically there's a part that's kind of similar to that was inspired. Again, there's a lot more to that movie. That movie you could watch 10 times over, and I promise you'll find something new every single time, because I do, and I've watched it 100 times over.
Yes.
But it's one of those that'll make you think. But that was actually inspired from that found footage, because they literally, like, the tour guide came down there, saw a camcorder lying on the ground, and was like, what's this? Looks at it, uploads the video to YouTube. Of course, I couldn't find it because it's not available in the US that I could see. If anybody actually can find that link, I would love to see what's actually on it. So if you guys find that link, send it to me on Instagram. I want to know. I couldn't find it. So if you guys have it, send it to me, because I want to know, because I'm curious, because that scared me. I've always heard about the catacombs, and I've seen As Above, So Below, so I had like the history from school, the history from French class, and of course just the fabricated history on As Above, So Below. And then after that, hearing that and seeing that, I was just like, oh, I need to know. That's scary.
So scary.
Supposedly too, a lot of people go into these catacombs, never come out. So if you go without a tour guide and you go into the places that are like illegal, they never come out. They either, one, are said to get lost in the catacombs, or two, when they go into them, you know, weird stuff happens, man. Weird stuff happens. So a lot of people say too that they see seances happening in the unknown rooms that you're not supposed to go into. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's some weird stuff. I could see that happening to like somebody setting that up, like some like a higher power. Oh, like, let's do some rituals in the catacombs. Like, oh my god, that's
yeah, like very creepy, very creepy. A lot of people, of course, you know, go down there to try and talk to the dead. And it's filled with energy and death and just really creepy stuff. And especially when you put into consideration the fact that, you know, this is a bunch of dead bodies that are down here, and a bunch of history. You know, the further back we go into human history, into just like the human species history, the darker it seems to get. And of course, with every generation, there's a dark secret that happens or whatever. And I feel like there's a lot of dark energy down there to begin with. And Yes, Maximus Prime, absolutely. There's a lot of dark energy to begin with down there, and I feel like it probably just stacks up. And of course, dark energy would cling to that. So there's probably unknown forces that are down there that are like, they could be demonic if you believe in that. They could just be negative. They could be otherworldly, like really, really, really creepy stuff. Um, not fun to go down and try to do a seance. That sounds terrifying. But that story just like blew my mind because I was just like, dude, that's creepy. Like that's on some creepy. I can't say the word, but that's on some creepy stuff. Um, because when you think of the catacombs, you know that there's dead people down there. You know that there's a lot of dead bodies, for lack of better words. Like, you know, there's a lot of dead bodies down there, and they had to do that because of the issue, of course, of, you know, not having enough room to bury people. But now that, you know, there's places that have collapsed in there, there's places that have just bad history in general. There is I will tell you, there's something, and there's another part of it, of the movie, that's derived from it. I'm only telling you the facts of the movie. The fabricated stuff is the fun stuff anyways, so I'm not giving any good stuff away. I mean, technically the facts are good stuff too. There's a hallway down in the catacombs that you're not supposed to go down, and it is a very narrow hallway. And it is said that down that hallway, they have tried to block it off. Down that hallway, people go down and they never come back. So there might be a hole that, you know, I have theories. There might be a hole from something collapsing, because you know, a lot of things did collapse during certain time periods. There was a lot of cities that actually collapsed underneath too. They had to reinforce some of the catacombs to be able to like hold up cities. But there's a lot of tragic things that have happened, and there could definitely still be holes underneath, and that's why you're not allowed to go down there. So, you know, go down there, fall down a hole. Of course, you're never going to come back because you're going to fall down a hole. Like, but
oh Lord.
But the other theory that I am not opposed to, but I've heard, it's not my theory. My theory is the whole theory, but I've heard that when you go down those certain hallways, including the one that is above the gates of hell, you almost enter another dimension. You enter like the other realm, and once you get in, if you don't know how to get back out of that realm, you're stuck there. So like creepy.
That is very like.
There's a lot of things that we could get into too. I want to explore that in another stream. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But in a brief synopsis of that, diving into the realm, because the realm, there are different layers to the realms too, by the way. I don't know if anyone really knows that. I'm not going to get into it. If you want to get into it, you can Google it. But there's different layers to a realm, just like there's different layers to our solar system, to our atmosphere. There's different layers to the spiritual realm. The further you go, the creepier it gets, of course. The more dangerous it gets, because also if you go further into it, you get stuck if you don't know how to get back out. So, and I say that, I'm not meaning that like necessarily you're going into like in the movies how you like, you know, go through a realm and it's like the weird jelly looking stuff, you go through it. I'm like, in general, it's supposed to be almost like a time warp. So it's like if you were to time travel, or it's like if you were to get stuck into another universe. And a lot of people automatically want to be like, well, that's sci-fi. No, that's actually very real. They're working on it right now, trying to get us into a different alternate reality, trying to see if that's even possible. And it's been proven that they can move small things. So of course, when it comes to the spiritual realm, I highly don't I don't dismiss the idea of, if you walk down a certain place in something that filtered with death, that there might have been a portal opened into the other realm and you get stuck down there. Because a lot of times too, when, you know, in movies, even when you go into these other realms, if you aren't a being that knows how to get back out, you will get stuck there, which is terrifying.
That is very terrifying though, because it's like, that's something that is so, I don't know, it's so out of the world, because it's different. It's nothing, it's not like a normal, you know, way of going as like we would know how to handle it.
Exactly. And I think that's what's interesting, is because it is very, very, very likely that could happen, and it's very possible, but we also don't understand it and we can't comprehend it because it's so mind-blowingly wild. So I'd like to say that, under the catacombs, I would not doubt that there's probably portals that are opened that shouldn't have been opened, but they're open now and transports you. And whether it transports you into blackness or whiteness, or it transports you into literally just another version of the world itself at a different time, or just another version in general, that's also something that I consider too. If they were to like go through it, they're literally just back where they were, which is kind of what As Above So Below touches on too, is that other dimension. And
Okay.
so I would not doubt it, because this movie, while it is a lot of fabrication and the plot line of it isn't necessarily real, some of the details that they put in there are from one real like things that have happened down there, and they're also details that could be possible for another spiritual realm or traveling, stuff like that.
Right. Right.
So very interesting, very interesting. What do you think about the catacombs? What do you guys in the comments think about the catacombs and the possibility of, the ghosts and seeing things down there, and of course the transporting into other realms?
No, yeah, I think that that's the type of place that I feel like that if you want to experience like I don't know, the most, I guess you like use like activity. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
so it's heavy. I don't know. It just feels like my breathing gets heavy thinking
Yeah.
about being in down there. Like I don't know. It's just like I can't relax. I'm always
Almost
like
overwhelming.
yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Overwhelming. That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost overwhelming, because it's one of those things that you're like, there's a lot going on down here. And that's why I told you guys in the beginning, paranormal is not just ghosts. It is so much more. Telekinesis is a huge part of it, the mind and how the mind works, and of course, the transporting into different alternate realities. Like all of that's paranormal, because while we're getting a grip on some of that, scientists are now trying to understand it and be able to use it. We still don't understand it. We still can't explain why it is. We still can't explain like when, why, where, what, like all of those things. So it's one of those things that's still very new to us, and I feel like will probably forever be new to us until we evolve as a species. But I do think it's a very interesting topic to go into, paranormal, because it does tie into ghosts, and it kind of brings not only clairvoyance but telekinesis and just in general your mind as well as spirits like together, which is what I really wanted to tap into, because I'm going to start doing a lot more shows that kind of like tap into that, because I want to show people paranormal is more than just ghosts, because ghosts are fun and I do believe in them. I don't know if I've given you more to think of. I hope I have.
Yeah.
But there's more to the paranormal world than just ghosts and like spooky things.
Mhm.
So with that being said, Brooke, do you have any thoughts, any ending thoughts? And let's go into your story. I'm so excited, guys. If you don't know Brooke Falls, please give her a favorite. She's about to tell us a super spooky story that has happened to her, and I'm so excited to hear it because she's been hinting at it all night. This is Uncover Paranormal for those of you just walking in. Hello, hi, I'm Blair Woods. Brooke, tell us your story.
I know. Oh my gosh. So this story, like, just actually was kind of recent in life. It was like this time last year. It was actually, I'm not kidding when I say this. I'm not even joking. It all takes place on Halloween night. But
Of course.
it has to. Like, I literally, it just has to. I did not even plan for it. So, I was with my like boyfriend at the time, and we were like, let's go have a nice weekend away, and let's get like an Airbnb at this like lake. And it was a really nice Airbnb. It was nothing haunted, nothing spooky, but it was just in the middle of nowhere. But I've been in this area before. And it's not like that bad, but it's like pretty far out in it's like upstate New York. And so there
Yeah.
wasn't like that many people around. So we get there, everything's cool, everything's so pretty, it's so nice. And I would say like a few hours pass, we make dinner, we get all this food, and then we just like are about to start watching like Netflix, like 10 o'clock, and right as we like pick a movie to watch, the power goes out.
Of course it does.
No wind, there's no rain, there's no storm, there's nothing. And the power just goes out, and like I start like freaking out. I start like having full blown like Because like I did not think spirits. I thought someone cut the power. I was
No,
like,
that's my first. My first is never spirit. My first is people because people scare me more than ghosts. I like ghosts better than people because
yes.
people are, evil and just sometimes. And that's my first thought too. Is like, oh god, who's
Yes,
there?
I was like, okay, did someone cut the power? Like, let's see, look around. We like got a knife from the kitchen and like we're so scared. And so um I was so terrified because like it was number one, it was getting like really cold outside and it was a like there was a pellet stove and there was a generator at the time. We didn't know because I had no Wi-Fi on my phone. It was in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't call the Airbnb lady. I was freaking out. So I called 911 and I was like, what's happening? Why do I not have power at my Airbnb? I'm like, me being a nutcase. And he kind of just like left us like a very chilling, like bland statement. And it was kind of like a suck it up, looks like you guys are gonna need a bunch of candles. And it was like, ha ha ha. I was like, I want to leave. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. Like, I'm freaking out. So, like, I'm thinking that this is a joke being played on my whole life. Like, I kind of really thought it was like, like, is this even reality at this point?
You're like, am I unpunked? Like, where's Ashton Kutcher?
so, so we like it. Like the weekend just like feels creepy. It feels like there was something basically in that like cabin that like didn't want us like there. For truthfully, like just was like you need to get out. So we actually were able to stay overnight with I barely slept like, but we got through. There was a bunch of candles lit, and then the next day we're still all out of power. And then I finally get in touch with an Airbnb lady, and I was like, we're out of power. She was like, there's a generator. Try to hook up the generator. We get a generator guy. He tries to hook up the generator. He hooks up the generator. The generator goes out within like 3 hours. He said it would last the whole night. And then we up and left and got a hotel.
I would have.
But on the way to that hotel, there were things on the drive that were so terrifying. These figures on the drive to the hotel, I swear to you, they were like these glitchy, weird blobs. And it was like by mailboxes. I would see these little children, little like 3-foot blobs. And like it felt like kids. And like I felt like, what are these kids all doing on the side of the road at night?
First of all, my first thought is, where's Choff? Because we went over Black Eyed Children on the stream I had him on, and that's exactly my thought when you said children. I was like,
yeah, yeah, like they were like looking like they were ready to go to school, like they were waiting for the bus at the side of the road. But like it's like 11:30 at night, girl, where's the bus?
Like, she said, where's the bus?
Oh, I was freaking out on the way to the Days Inn. And then once we got to the Days Inn, it feels like, you know what it is? It's like, I don't know, for some reason, it's like the more like light, I guess, like obviously it is. It is the darker around it is, the more scared I'm going to be. Like, it was just like.
Well, the darker around it is, the more negative energy can harbor there too. So,
Okay.
very right to be scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was not fun. Totally not fun.
Dude, it kind of sounds like they were almost like waiting for you guys to leave, and they're just like, peace out, suckers. Like,
yes.
Have a good night.
We were getting scared the entire ride, like leaving it too. It was like, why is this still happening? Like, I mean, I don't have words because the fact, like, I was okay if the generator was like working and everything was fine. It probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
I put that one out. I told my ex, I was like, that goes out. That goes out. We're out. We're done. Like, this is not happening.
I'm dead. That's scary. That sounds like something in a horror movie, Brooke. That sounds like you literally, I'm glad you didn't, but it sounds like you should have died going down the road. Like, it sounds like something in a horror movie where they'd turn it and they'd be like, wrong turn, and like make you guys take a wrong turn, and like stuff went down. Like, that's terrifying, especially because you said you were seeing little children.
Yeah. Yes, I'll definitely 100%. I was like, and then it's like weird. It's just once there was more lights, it started to clear up. It's like the kids went away. It's like it just went away. It was just all around that area. It was very like dark, and like it felt like no like my phone had no service, and like I don't, that gives me very much like, you know, a no service on my phone just instantly like adds
anxiety.
Oh, my heartbeat just went up to like 225. I have no way of doing anything now. I'm helpless.
Yeah, that's me with when it comes to having no signal and no car. Those are my two those are my two getaways. If I don't have either one of those or I don't have both, like I'm free. I'm full blown panicking at that point. There is no more fight left in me. I'm flighting. My mind is flighting. We're going on a whole nother universe trip here because I can't. That's so
Yeah,
scary.
I know, I
I'm
know.
glad that you're okay. I'm glad that it didn't end terribly. Maybe never go back there. It sounds to me like they don't want you back there. And do me a favor and also probably maybe don't ever go in depth and research black-eyed children because once you know about them, like that's when they come back for you. So
So you think that that was that? Like, what kind
I heavily like as soon as you said that, like with the children, yeah,
yeah.
it could definitely have been.
Short.
It
It
like
looked like they were waiting for the bus.
the thing we're gonna dive into it just a brief little synopsis, but basically shadow people, the black-eyed children, like all of those nightmarish type shadows or entities, those like stories that were created off of a demonic premise. So like that's obviously that dark feeling that you were feeling
Mm-hmm.
definitely was negative energy. I would not be surprised if those little children were actually black-eyed children, especially if you said they look like they're ready to go to school. That's kind of how they pose as like school children. And
Okay.
so like the bigger dark figures, that were there, the glitchy figures,
Mm-hmm.
those could also have been shadow people. Like they all work hand in hand together. They all kind of are conjunctively, just honestly, if we're being honest, they're negative, they're demonic, like they're of other world. Like they were never human. Um, it sounds like to me that you almost had a close encounter, and I'm very glad that you guys got out of there because I don't even want to know what would have happened had you stopped for the children, had you stayed another night at the house. Like, that's
I know.
terrifying.
I know. I know. I'm sorry glad that we got out. We just went to the hotel. I was like totally fine. I wanted my little nice cabin away. It says like it was like Swan Lake getaway, and I did not have a Swan Lake getaway. I had very terrifying experience missed.
I am
So
never staying in a log cabin. So this is my thing is I normally don't stay in log cabins to begin with. I used to as a kid, but seeing all the murder movies, I'm like, nah, I'm good. But after that, I'm definitely never staying in a log cabin. Bye. I don't care about a Swan Lake oasis. Like I don't need it.
I know. I know. So insane.
Terrifying.
It is terrifying. I know. I'm very
Well,
much like glad that I'm
I'm glad that you're okay.
yeah.
I'm so glad that you're okay. Guys, if you are just joining in, we are wrapping up Uncover Paranormal. This is Brooke Falls. Don't forget to favorite her. Brooke, if you would like to kind of tell everybody really fast before we head out, also your show and just kind of what it's about, where they can find you. Tell them right now so that they know because you guys, she's got a show on here too. She's a singer-songwriter as well. So you guys should really get to know her a little more.
Yeah, so I do a show on here every single Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called Behind the Music with Brick Balls. And I just basically like to take an artist, genre of music, band, a musical theater piece, and kind of take songs from that, cover them, and also go in depth of like where it all started, how they came about, going in depth about their life and things like that. So that's what I've been starting up doing on here. And then other than that, I have a song that has just been released. It's on Spotify. It's called Blu-ray Pie. It's on Apple Music as well. So
I
just
love
like that.
it.
It'd be cool.
Thank you so much, Brooke. I appreciate you for being on tonight. Guys, don't forget to favorite Brooke. Thank you guys so much for being here for Uncover Paranormal. Bye, love. If you guys want to join more Uncover Paranormals, we go over everything paranormal from the scopes of ghosts and spirits to the scopes of just things that you can't quite explain. Monsters, just weird. We went over unicorns one time. Not all of it's spooky, scary. But thank you, Brooke. But we do this every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my name is Blair Woods. I'm the host. And you guys, if you are interested in being on the show, or if you guys have topics you guys would like me to dive more into, let me know on my Instagram at the Blair Woods. And also, just as a slight little promo too, again, guys, I'm having some Christmas music made. We're finishing it up right now. We're also working on some a big project for myself, and part of that will be announced on December 1st. Very excited for that. So I'm a singer-songwriter as well as a clairvoyant. So don't forget to follow me on Spotify as well. And I'm going to hop back on in just a second, but I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to get off, eat a little bit, and then we're going to join for like a little after paranormal party, if you will, where if you guys have anything, any takeaways, you guys can also come into that stream and, you know, have, if you guys have any ideas that you want me to do, I'll write them down. So I'm going to give myself like a 10 to 20 minute break, and I'll be back on. And I will see you guys in just a bit. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Don't forget to come by next Wednesday for Uncover Paranormal. We have another very fun guest and another very fun 2 topics as well. Thank you so much, Brooke. Guys, don't forget to favorite Brooke. Brooke, love you. Thank you for being on the show. So excited that you got to finally get on. And I will see you guys in about 10, 20 minutes. And yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by for Uncover Paranormal.